Welcome to the Fine Print, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Caleb Teskey, and today we've got a fantastic artist spotlight. Joining me from Toronto, it's Cliff Cardinal from Cliff Cardinal and the Skylarks, my old friend. How are you, sir?
What's up, Caleb? What's up, fine print audience?
Hmm.
Where are your people? Where are your who are the viewers here?
You know, a lot of the Vermont cannabis community, for sure, based on a lot of the
Yeah, you're
interviews.
doing. Yeah, I'm really enjoying watching. I'm not in the cannabis industry, so and I don't live in Vermont, so it's the what you're doing is like not exactly like my thing, but to see you killing it, like, dude, I'm reading it. I love it, man. I'm stoked to see you, creating a fucking niche for yourself.
Thanks, buddy. I
I'm
appreciate
worried
that.
about you and the cops, though, man. I hope you're. I hope they're not giving you too hard of a time. Anyway.
You fucker. I'm supposed to be interviewing you here.
Okay, all right.
No, everything's going well. Thank you. Except for that little hiccup. It's been a great year, man, and I'm super happy to have you. Before we talk about anything important, will you do a 5-minute life story for us?
Yeah, sure.
Well, that's kind of important
Um,
too, I guess, but
yeah, all right. So I'll keep it to 5 minutes. I was I'm a I was born in Pine Ridge, South Dakota, on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. My mom is a movie star named Tantu Cardinal, one of the great Canadian movie stars. And she moved me to LA as a baby. We lived there for 10 years or so, and then I moved to Vermont. That's where we met. Um, and the story really starts though in Toronto, where I moved when I was about 15. I kind of didn't really, I was kind of a kid who didn't really feel like I fit in very much. I had some problems with, authority, society, or whatever. Not that I could offer a really, stirring rebuke of Western society, but it bothered me. It bothered me. So I dropped out of school when I was 15, and I wandered into the back of this bar, and they were rehearsing these plays. It was like a smoky bar, and they were smoking, and they're doing these history plays. It's like big gaudy costumes, white faced makeup, you know, um, and they were doing Canadian history plays. And so the director, he saw me sitting there, and the director says, if you're asked to do anything, best to do it. Otherwise, just stay out of the way. And so I wasn't spoken to for my entire 10th grade year. I just sat there and just shut the fuck up and listened. And it turned out that that's actually a pretty classical upbringing in art, in theater, where it's like, hey, you're different, shut the fuck up, just sit here, we're going to take you with us. But you have to, but you learn the discipline, and you learn to take it on the director's terms and on the teacher's terms. And so I felt like I had and seeing the actors, it was like they just showed up to work in the back of this bar, and some of them had me roll joints for them. but they were just like, they'd get up there, they'd be holding their scripts, they deliver these lines, and their whole job was to just make each other laugh, entertain each other. And then at the end of the week, it was like, here, good job. At that, in those days, they were getting paid like $400 a week or something like that, or I don't know what but that was better then. It was so what I'm saying, that it was like, it was a living, like it was a weekly living that these people were making, and they were paying, and they were supporting their families, they were financing their dreams, and they were making each other laugh every day. And all I wanted to fucking do was go into that room and then be able to eat fucking fast food wraps, burritos and chicken shawarmas and chicken souvlaki's that are like around. Like, and I was like, fuck, man, if I could pull that off of just like doing the work and eating chicken sandwiches, it's like, I don't have alimony. I don't got child support. You know what I mean? Like, I can make a good little thing just like that. So fuck. I went back to school. I was like, all right, I guess maybe you fucking people can have something to teach me. I don't know. I don't. They never really did though. To be honest, like
You
school
people.
was, yeah, school was kind of a fucking joke, to be honest. And oh man. Anyway, but I stayed in the art. I practiced a lot of different arts. I started playing in bands. I started busking on the street, doing comedy in nightclubs, improv, and doing a lot of kids theater. Where you show up on the road. You show up in the gym and you set up the set, and the kids come in. They don't give a fuck, and you do a show, and then the kids are like, "Yeah, all right, cool." Yeah. And so like when you're doing shows, when you're busking on the street, and you got 15 seconds to get a little bit of money off of somebody as they walk by, or if you're doing a comedy at night, you got to be funny right now, right? And the same thing with kids in theater, doing theater for kids. I mean, if you're not performing with immediacy, they don't have time for you. If you're full of shit, it's off, like it's off forever. Yeah. And so that's like a really solid, upbringing. It's like earn the money off that person on the street, earn the money when you go and entertain that audience.
So let me interrupt you for a second. After you kind of were working at these bars when you were 15 or whatever, how long was it before you kind of worked your way onto a stage?
I did a short film when I was 18 called Future Nation. I was on an improv troupe when I was 15. It didn't last very long. A bunch of punk bands. I did improv. So it was like I was on stage all the time. Like it wasn't like you practice up when you go to theater school, and then you learn, and then you audition, and then you go on the stage. It's like you go on the stage.
Okay, I was going to say, you said there was that period where they told you to shut the fuck up and listen.
Oh, that was when I was 15. So like I would say 16 or 17, I started getting up, independently.
Okay, that's what I was curious about.
Yeah, good. No, good question. Yeah, no, yeah, and it was bad, and it was really bad. Like going on stage it's so difficult to go up and be successful and entertain the audience and make them have a good time and make you have a good time, so that it's this, it's this relationship that works for everybody.
Mutually beneficial.
Yeah, that's right. It takes a long time to be able to do that. And so, failure is the only option, to just go up and not make people laugh and play songs that people don't want to hear, and just take that in and take it really personally and just really understand that. And then, along the way, writing became really the central thing. And I did a play called Stitch in 2011.
Wow, you're doing my own segues for me, buddy. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
No, please carry on.
Go ahead and ask do the segment, and then I'll bring up Stitch.
There is no segue. It said, I was hoping we could take some time and talk about your theater work, and then it says Stitch. So you've done my job.
Yeah, that was a play that I wrote when I was like 24, 25, and it worked. It had an aesthetic. Like when you watched it, it was doing something. And so after that, it was like that became like my calling card. And it was like for years, it was just like I became this guy who did Stitch, and so I was able to kind of and also I became the indigenous guy that did Stitch. Like there's like a lot of weird stuff that's going on with being an indigenous artist. Because to be honest, Caleb, between you and me and the fine print audience, I think I'm a good artist, but it often doesn't come up as part of the conversation, just because of where politics are at with the country these days.
What are they focusing more on, the fact that you're indigenous and less on the art? Do you feel like that in any way?
It's really tough to where the audience is having the conversation that's about what we want it to be about. Like not all of my work is culturally specific. Every show, every song isn't about being an Indian, although some of them are.
Sure.
And the ones that are seem to be the one that people understand the most. It attracts them the most, and they go, oh yes, that's the thing that I want to do. No, that's the thing. That's the thing about, that's who Cliff is.
Yeah.
That's what I like about him. And it's actually only a small portion of what I do, but the other stuff that I do that has nothing to do with being Indigenous, it's still like they don't get it. Or like sometimes it's hard to understand it when you go, okay, but it's the Indigenous guy and now he wants to sing a love song or whatever, or talk about something else.
Outrageous.
They just don't get it. They don't get it, and I can't make it any clearer for them, because we're, it's like an ongoing relationship. Like I have to learn how to make it clearer. They're not all just a bunch of racists, but a lot of them are.
Do you feel some of this trickling downhill maybe from what your mom has been involved in? I know she's pretty big in the Canadian world, and do you feel like any of your success is sort of being pinned to her? Like, oh, look, another Indigenous, actor or performer.
You know what? No,
Good.
it's not like being a Kennedy's kid.
Okay, good.
Where it's just like, oh no, come on in, let me show you who you're going to be working with. Nice to meet you. No, it's nothing like that. And I'm real proud of my mama's name, although her type of music and mine ain't exactly the same. The great Hank Williams Jr. said that. So yeah, she's the best, and she's just an amazing actor, and she's had just a huge prolific career. But it's not like it's never helped. No one's gonna hire you because my mom's Tantu Cardinal. But what's cool about it is that times along the way there'd be someone from a generation older than me, and they'd be like, hey, no, you're cool, right? So they would just treat me like I was family already.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, like I had this one guy who told me that him and his best friend were in a fight over a woman, and he was hiding behind a couch while the friend threw bottles over they would crash over on the wall and rain glass down on it. And it was a very brutal thing, but it kind of became okay because my mom came by, and he ended up leaving with Tantu. And so when 20 years later, this guy sees me and he's like, he puts a beer in my hand, puts a chair up to the table, and I was in. You know what I mean? It was like it's all good here.
Cool.
So, and then my mom would go on to tell me that it was a sad story. It was a sad story, it didn't get all hot and ruckusy afterwards, but.
No, they were alcoholics. It was. This was an intervention.
They were then, and this is our generation now. We know, right? We're children of it, so we know it when we see it.
My dad was an international drug smuggler, so yeah.
That's right. Isn't that fast? Isn't that awesome though? That that was like a looming thing in your life. That incident, it was like a mountain, in Lyndonville that no one could see but you.
Yeah.
Like this history, and now here you are, all these years later, on the fine print journalism.
And I got to meet Billy. I got to meet Billy Greer, who was the ringleader of the whole thing. I got to meet him back in April, and hopefully he's coming on for an interview. So that was,
isn't that cool?
It was wild, man. Small world, and full circle kind of shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's like you're right where you're supposed to be at, man.
Well, this is about you, so don't talk about me too much. Will you tell us? I'm going to ask you about Huff next, but I was hoping maybe you could give us the elevator pitch on Stitch and just tell people what that's about if they want to go check it out.
Well, Stitch, it's a one woman show about a single mom who works in porn, and like she's going through like this first break psychosis, but like it's as a man, you're not supposed to be writing things like that. You know, like you're not supposed to take a woman's perspective and be like, you know, write in the first person as a single mom. And so it's not about that. It's not like I can speak for the porn experience or speak for being a mom. Really what it is, it's like it's a lens for us to see parts of ourselves. You know, parts of ourselves that we wouldn't want to see otherwise. We wouldn't normally get to explore. And so when you read a monologue from Kylie Grandview, when she tells you this story, you're experiencing parts of yourself. You know, these you know, ugly, dark, shameful places, painful places. All of a sudden, instead of them being buried inside you, you know, you're able to experience them in a more real way. And so, you know, it's not about you know, the character that's being portrayed. It's about you, you know, the reader, and are you able to project parts of yourself on? And that's like kind of what I learned with a lot of that stuff.
I felt that same way about doing stand-up in a lot of ways, you know?
Yeah, that's right. You know, like you're trying to take the perspective that's funniest. You know, like you're trying to, and if people's reactions to it, it's like parts of themselves that they don't, you know. And anytime they come and talk to you about the art, they're only talking about themselves. You know, like listen, you know, if you listen to the compliment or the insult or whatever it is, it's like they're talking about how they saw themselves in your work, and that's cool.
A lot of projection, and that's yeah. I've definitely have heard a lot of compliments and complaints. I was kind of like a polarizing guy in stand-up. There was never like people who were like, yeah, it was okay. They either liked it a lot or they hated it. Yeah, which is how I want it to be. I want you to
man,
feel
be
something.
eccentric.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be, you know, eccentric. Otherwise, you're just going to blend in with everybody else.
Right. I didn't want to do that, dude. You know, and honestly, it's not my style. Like, it's not like something I had to make a conscious choice about.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you couldn't if you wanted to.
Yeah, right. See, you understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about Huff now, please, because this seemed like it kind of, I don't want to say it put you on the map, but honestly, we fell out of touch for a long time, Cliff. And this was, I feel like, when I started seeing about you in the news a little bit, and I was like, holy shit, like I gotta hit Cliff up.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it became for sure. It's what I'm most known for, probably. It's a one-man show. I play like 30 characters. It's about indigenous kids who abuse solvents, you know, like huff gas, and are at high risk of suicide.
30 characters you played.
I play like 30, 25, 30 characters in the thing, you know, just flying by, like, you know, like Kevin Hart is kind of like the sort of the velocity of like of the switches.
Okay.
So like, yeah. And well, in Canada, we have a rich tradition of youth suicide. We have a rich tradition of disenfranchising Indigenous kids. Damn. And sweeping Indians under the carpet, you know, between the cracks. And so
we don't have any of that here. We don't have any of that, Cliff.
Well, you guys don't even fucking know what an Indigenous person is, do you? Like, I mean, have you met another Indian besides me in Lyndonville, Vermont? To this day? To this day, I am the only Lakota.
Oh no, maybe
envoy.
Maybe your sister. I was gonna say Annie. There's that Annie. Oh, that's your sister. Shit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's right. My sister. Maybe my sister. Okay. Yeah. But I don't. In Canada, it's a much smaller population. There's 30 million people in Canada. So don't do math on YouTube. Don't, you know, like.
No. That's as long as you're ballpark, we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And Indigenous people are the highest growing population in Canada. So I feel like it's in Canada, it's a much more higher part of the psyche, a bit, or of the national consciousness. That's what I mean
Sure.
by you guys don't even know what Indians are. Like,
Yeah,
that's
no.
what, that's
Some of you guys survived up there, huh?
that's right. Yeah, we're survive, and there's lots of people who are surviving down in the States too, and that conversation for sure is going to be getting bigger and bigger, especially as y'all run out of water, which is
And I had a new appreciation for those pipeline protesters after some of the reading that I've been doing, on a side note. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So back to Huff, where it's a bleak story about youth suicide, but it's a comedy. It's a black comedy. That's just because that's the kind of guy I am. I want it to be the whole thing. I want it to be, I need it to be really dark, but I also like, it's got to be revolving, and you gotta make people go ha ha ha, because otherwise it's like people clench up and they go, okay, you're gonna show us this bad thing, and I don't want to watch that, and so I'm gonna go and think about my grocery list now, or whatever else is happening outside the theater. But when you can get the audience to laugh, they open up.
Well, that's that tension and release, right? It's like, if it's all tension and there's never any release, then you've just got a tense crowd that really, like, that's my person. That's what I observe from doing stand-up. Like, some people are really good at making it tense, but then they have no way how to release it. And
yes, but now, right. Yes, you got to let us go now.
Yeah, right. And then there's other people that are the opposite. They know how to bust a nut. They just don't know how to get their dick hard or something. Like, it's weird like that in performing arts.
That's beautifully put, Caleb.
Thank you. I'm not as eloquent as you, my friend. Never have been.
Yeah. So it's a dark thing, right? It's a dark story, and so it's, as I tell you this, there would be people who would say it's not funny at all. It's like I'm trying to make it work for most of the audience, but there are people who are sitting too far out on either side that it's not going to work. And a certain, so, but it became a really successful show. I toured I still tour the thing. I was just in Halifax. So it's been like 10 years of touring. We started in 2012.
Yeah, what? It said like you've done like 200, over 200 shows?
Over 200 shows. We've been to Australia twice. We've been to the UK twice. Played in Washington, D.C. at the Kennedy Center.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been it's a living.
Yeah.
It's a living,
bringing that Kennedy reference from earlier full circle here.
That's right.
Damn.
So it's not like I'm a Kennedy, but it's a little like I'm a Kennedy.
What? So I understand also.
I sent an Instagram message to Maria Shriver when we were going there. I slipped into Maria Shriver's DMs, just because, like, well, fuck, do I have to lose, right? Like, I know I can't get an actual, like, I couldn't get Ted Kennedy to show up. He couldn't even find the fucking door handle, right? Like, is he alive? If he's alive,
Teddy?
If he's dead, I'm sorry. If he's alive, he's shit-faced. He doesn't care. So, but I thought, hey, you know what? Maybe Maria Shriver would want to associate, her image with a Cliff Cardinal play. I never got a response back, but I don't take it personally. So Maria, if you're watching, I know the fine print's going to be on your radar soon, if it's not now. And so, hey, you always have a free comp to one of my shows.
Yeah, and by the way, let me slip this in there. I used to propose marriage to Ann Coulter on Twitter every day. She never got back to me either. But Ann, if you're listening, sweetheart, I'm still here for you.
I like Ann Coulter. I mean, like I don't mean like that. I mean, like, I just like to be so hated, to have people just hate her so bad. and for her to just be like, like, I give a shit.
She leans right into it.
Yeah, I mean, like, wow, like, oh, I don't have this. I'm not as tough as she is.
Yeah, no, I think she kind of likes the hate, honestly. But I don't want to get lost in an ant cult, dude. I daydream about
we could
marrying
get
her.
into
So
that.
yeah.
But by the way, best to Tasha.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. She had to sit here and listen to your album with me the other night, but we're gonna get there after. We're gonna do the music last. I'm still ripping through your portfolio of theater here.
Okay.
And I wanted to ask you honestly, is solvent abuse a big issue in the indigenous community?
No. It's solvent abuse is a big issue in any community with disenfranchised poor kids. Poor kids are going to get high just like anyone else. And not poor kids, poor people. If you don't have anything to get high with, like, you're going to get high. And so it's not like it's a disproportionate thing. It's like it's in any community. There are people in St. Johnsbury, there are kids in St. Johnsbury, Vermont tonight who are blowing up a can of fucking glue or whatever.
Yeah, shooting heroin maybe in St. J.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because in St. J, you've got this robust economy that brings in fucking heroin. God bless you guys for having good dope come in. Which is wonderful palliative, reason. There's reasons to be doing heroin. Heroin's a wonderful thing to be doing. It's not like there's problems and everything, but it's really bad to be huffing gas, and it's really bad to be a kid who has no hope. And so that was really where So
was it more of a commentary on sort of class relations as opposed to native specific sort of relations?
Yeah, they were native because I'm native. Right. And so, like, I put myself in that position where I was like, here's how it would be had things not worked out for me. Right. And like, it's not far away from your experience, Caleb. Like, we were little kids getting fucked up together. I don't think you and I ever
were.
Yeah, I don't think you and I ever sniffed gas together, but some of our friends did. We knew people who did that shit.
Sure,
yeah. And so but it's about ourselves. It's about ourselves and deciding to what's our culpability in it. As a society who sits, when you go home and put on your air conditioning and drink a Pepsi and think, oh, those poor, disenfranchised youth, it's like, well, thanks for your thoughts and prayers, asshole. But does that make you, one of the people who said that this wasn't good enough? I don't know. And so that's one of the things that I kind of, provide as an artist when I'm
doing. Great question too, by the way.
Specific work. Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. But yeah. Great point.
Because if you're not without Indigenous artists, it's like those questions aren't going to be asked so directly to you. You have it sort of in an abstract sort of way. It's not like when you go to the theater and you see, this fucking brown dude and he's saying it to you.
And you told me, from what you told me, your play was kind of vivid. I believe at one play you said some lady was taking notes in the front row and maybe like you chucked tomatoes. Is that something we could address here? Because I like a little bit of shock value. I don't think performance art should be all about shock value, but I certainly think there's a fine art to providing a little bit of that to your audience.
Yeah, it's for sure very affrontive. I can't talk too much about it, but like, yes, the audience sees gruesome images, child rape. And so if some rich lady shows up and she's upset that I misted her coat with tomatoes, fuck you. You came and saw that whole thing and that's what made you upset? Fuck you and send me a dry cleaning bill.
Would you pay her dry cleaning bill if she sent it to you?
It's never happened. It's never like this one woman got upset, and my friend Ryan's like, "Oh, you got some tomatoes on your white privilege jacket." And like, I'm not into that white privilege thing. Like, it's not like a thing to throw around and everything. But like in this one instance, I was like, "Oh, Ryan, you dog." I think you got her on that one. But even if they get upset, it's, there's something that happens, it seems, afterwards where no one seems to want to get me to pay for anything or atone for anything. And I've done some shit.
I was gonna say, is like, I didn't want to compare you to Gallagher, but I remember him smashing watermelons all over people, and that was the first thing I thought of.
Well, Gallagher or Rocky Horror Picture Show or one of these things where that's the gag is like there's a splash zone.
Right.
You put on the thing. It's like
Sure.
At a Cliff Cardinal show, you go to see a play, and then this fucking kid comes out on you, and he's dripping in tomatoes. He's like, "High five? Are we friends? Are we friends or not? Are we friends or are you a fucking pussy?" And you know what? Most people they give me the high five.
I'd give you the high five. I don't want to find out what happens if I don't. Now, okay. So I feel like we could transition off this. There was another a CBC special you did. Would you mind talking about that a little bit?
Yeah, because I tell stories, I write stories, and I sing songs. And so I wanted to do something that contained both of those things. And I don't want to do a musical. I wanted to do I wanted to do Cliff Cardinal stories and Cliff Cardinal songs. And so I'm like, well, how do you fucking get people to do that? And it's like, what's the container for how I do this? And we came up with this idea where I do a fake CBC special, Cliff Cardinal's CBC special, Canadian. It's like doing NPR's, Cliff Cardinal's NPR special, where it's like, oh, there's some stories and there's some songs, a cavalcade of stars. All your favorite Vermont stars are going to be there. Ben and Jerry will be doing, a banjo and guitar, an acoustic guitar song. They'll be singing "This Land Is Your Land."
Don't talk about Ben.
No. So I basically I lie to people and say, look, we've got this CBC special, and then people come and they see, and it's like, hey, you know what? There is no CBC special. The CBC executive has never uttered the words Cliff Cardinal, and I entertain people and I get to kind of do, like, I don't have to do the same thing every night. Like, I can do this song or that song. I can tell this story or that
so you
story.
You lied to get this off the ground.
A
little bit. It sounds like.
Yeah, yes, a little bit.
And it worked, because I was here. I was like, well, that popped right up in a Google search. Like, oh, the CBC special.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad that after all these years, I still have to lie to people to get them to go see a Cliff Cardinal show. It's really sad.
It is sad. That is like, didn't you do a Christmas special?
I'm working on it. So it's up on YouTube and stuff. It's like, you got to work that the ending didn't quite turn it over the way I wanted it to.
I loved it.
Oh, thanks. So I'm gonna keep working on it.
I like you as a voiceover guy, man. I thought you did really, like, it started out as a normal story, and then it just went way off the rails, and then it kind of came back to like a normal story. I really enjoyed it a lot, man. That was one of my favorite things that you've ever done.
Bless you. I am definitely, thank you so much. I'm definitely trying to grab the brass ring in terms of Christmas content, but it occurred to me, like, you dream of making like Charlie Brown's Christmas, where you, like, or Home Alone, where they come back and you watch it every year. But now there's like a million Christmas stories every fucking year. It's like, man, how are you going to grab onto one of these and watch it again next year? I don't know.
If you made an animated video of that, I would watch that shit every year.
Yes, this is the inspiration I need. Exactly. Thank you, Caleb. This is what needs to happen.
Yeah, so now you have to.
Now I have to. I always want to. I'm always thinking about it. I'm like, oh fuck, okay, we gotta get this, get moving.
It was really
But
cool, and it was unexpected, honestly. Like I would have never if you told me when we were 16 in 20 years you'd be doing fucking Christmas readings, I would have told you that they were all insane.
It's Sam the elf, the little elf, right?
No, but
said shitty things.
You've appealed, I think, here to a more broader section of the audience than I do. Like I've never been. I hit with a specific group of people. You've got some stuff for the kids, you've got some stuff for the adults, you've got some stuff for yourself, it sounds like, even as well, which is always nice when you're performing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, remember Mr. Conductor? There's room, there's room for an artist to travel, I think.
There should be. And
Yeah.
you have a broad skill set, so it doesn't seem like there's a reason to really paint yourself into a corner and just like pigeonhole yourself.
It's I'll tell you, man, a work of art is impossibly difficult to make.
Yeah.
And the musicians who dedicate their life to music are better than I. The actors where that's all they do is they knock down 200 auditions a year, like that, they're more consummate actors. They'll just grab it off of me, and so I'm kind of a guy where, like, maybe if I just focus on writing stuff, I might have, or focus on one thing, then I could learn more about it and get better at it and be more predictably successful. But it doesn't seem to be the way I've come up, and I don't really.
Do you get bored focusing on one thing at a time?
Bored isn't quite the word. It's that I get compelled in other directions. Like I'll bite into this other thing, and I'll be working on this for a while, and then I'll move over. And it just seems to be, a really enjoyable way for me to do it. I have to do stuff that makes money, and I have to do stuff that I like. And I'm really lucky that I'm for the things that I get to work on.
And it seems like you've also worked super hard to get there, so maybe a bit of hard work along with the luck.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah,
I'm gonna throw that out there so we don't just pin it all on luck. We're not gonna do that.
Or being Tantu Cardinals kid. Yeah. And anytime I come up short, mommy shows up and just,
It was super awesome. Sorry, you got me there, buddy. It was super awesome. It was super awesome to see John on Breaking Bad there real quick.
Wasn't that cool?
That was
he did the Matthew McConaughey movie about gold too.
I didn't see that, but can I tell you, when John appeared on Breaking Bad, I was half asleep.
For the audience, that's my dad.
Yeah. And when he appeared, I was half asleep and I had a blanket on my face, like I was just fucking sleeping. And I heard his voice before I saw his face. And I will never forget that voice ever for as long as I live. And I woke up like my dad was yelling at me or something.
It's like he's like, "Hey, babe."
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I got up and I looked at the screen and I said, "No fucking way." And then I said, "Actually, yeah, there's probably a way for this one."
Yeah. Yeah. He had like really good stints on the Phyllis Show and Facts of Life. And he was a really, really solid, what he called light comedy. And like when I was a kid, he would direct the school plays. And it was like, he brought them to life. And all of a sudden, like little kids were like working these old show business routines. It was like, it was really cool, man. He was, yeah.
And I remember he used to always come to the hockey games and fucking, I could hear him screaming out there in the stands. Go back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and he's a Vietnam vet. He's kind of a brilliant old guy. And
I never knew that.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That was so, like, in the same way that, like, your mountain of this, what happened at the Montreal border or at the Canada border. Like Vietnam for me was this kind of thing that loomed off in the past that that was like super super present for us, because my dad, he lost his little brother there,
Wow.
and
Really?
so yeah, for sure. And so now it's like they go to, huh?
I said, wow.
Yeah. So
I'm
now,
sorry.
so yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Now, all these years later, he wears his veteran's hat, and he goes to goes and I'm gonna tell this. I hope this doesn't get crazy. Fuck, he doesn't give a shit. He goes to the baseball game, wears his veteran's hat, and when they play the national anthem, that's when he goes to the bathroom. Do you know what I mean? Like he's not really into all that stars and stripes shit. Like after he's gone through what he's been through over the years, and with his brother in Vietnam and everything, it's like that. Those bombs bursting in air, they don't sound the same. So he gets up, he goes to the bathroom, and you know what? Nobody says shit to him. They see that veteran's hat and they go, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Can we get John on for an interview?
Hey, I bet you could.
If we could, I'd love that. I want to keep this about you though.
Yeah.
But before we get to the music, I got one more about it sounds like and I sniped this straight off your website, but it sounds like you've done your first multi-character play. Too good to be true.
So remember that theater that bar that I walked into?
Yeah.
So like years later, I got to act in one of their plays. And then years later after that, I went to writing school, and then I came back to Toronto and I became the co-artistic director's protege. She was my mentor. And so I just sat at her feet for about 6 years. And
wow.
we talked about theatrical text, dramatic text. Why writing for the theater is different than writing poetry or writing for a dance piece, or like what is that thing where you've got what is drama. And so there's really is a way of doing it. There's a way of gauging it. Is it working? Geez, does it feel, when fucking Ginny and Georgia or whatever, when one of them moves the other one, do you feel it? Because that is art. That is something that's worth watching. So we were very passionate about that, and she helped me work on one of the plays that I wrote. It was called Too Good to Be True. It's about a single mom who moves her kids into this abandoned house and tells them, "We live here now." And she takes her kids on the run after perpetrating a terrible crime. And the play is their last hour in the house before the cops and the authorities break in and break the house up. And it's a comedy.
Sick.
Yeah. So I'm actually the only person who has ever directed in their black box besides from them, the artistic director and co-artistic director. And my mentor Deanne, she actually died a couple of years ago at the end of the pandemic. So I was, I was there at the time, and it was a really transformative moment for me, because the reason that I was staying in theater, because I love theater at that point. I love theater as a training mechanism. Like, you learn about art, and you learn because theater has every part of art. It's got visual art, it's got music, it's got drama, it's got comedy. Well, sometimes it has comedy.
Yeah.
And so but what I wanted to do was what I wanted to do. Like, I've got a novel that I'm working on, I've got the band, I've got different things. But so theater was just this touch point for me. But because of the way that she believed in me, theater became something important as who I am as a creator. I developed an interest for poetry and dramatic texts, and how it works. And then when she died, it was like, well, now I don't give a shit. Now I don't care about theater anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm kind of out on the whole thing. Theater's great because it's cheap. If you're an artist and you have something to say, you can get it up on stage.
Is
And
this
so I
like
know
Mike Tyson? Is this like Mike Tyson when Customato died? He's like, fuck, like I don't even want to punch people in the face anymore.
well, I still want to punch people in the face.
Okay. Good.
But
That's good to hear.
but it's not like it's not my calling. Theater isn't my calling. You know, where I'm just that's what I want to do is I want to present work on the stage. It's like no, theater is what you do to make a living. You know, like when you got to make some money, you know, you jump on a theater piece, you do the work. And as an artist, it's cheap. And so if I have an idea, you know, I know I'll be able to get it out in the theater. So
So you have
I
connections
know
with
I'll work
theaters.
there.
You have connections with theaters up there in Canada.
Oh my God. Well, it's a small community, and at this point, yeah.
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 And okay, so this is the last question before we do the band stuff. I want to run through some awards that you might have been nominated for.
Good. I thought
Here
you'd
we
never
go.
ask.
We got the Buddies in Bad Times Vanguard Award for Risk and Innovation.
Yeah. Yep, that was cool.
Who are those guys?
Oh well, Buddies in Bad Times theater is, first of all, it's the best name for any theater in the world. Buddies in Bad Times, and it was created by this guy. Fuck, I can't remember his name now. I just saw him the other day, and it'll come to me. Anyway, it was the gay theater in the Village from the 80s, 90s, and those buddies had some bad times. So they sponsor an award at the Summerworks Festival. Summerworks Festival is an independent theater festival, but it's juried. So you don't. It's not like the Fringe where you get in by lottery. People review your application and they go, "Okay, I'll take that show." Yeah. So I did that for 3 years in a row or something, or 2 years, you know. And I've won like 3 awards at that place. All right, fuck these awards. These awards, I'll tell you.
No, I want to ask you about. We're talking about the awards, Cliff. I have them all listed here.
They do nothing to.
I know, but I'm curious where they come from. So even if you hate them,
sure,
you have to bear with me here.
I love them. I adore them. I think about them daily, even though I never kept any of them. Like I throw them out as soon as I get them. But like the temptation with them is to really just focus on them beyond all else. But we can use them because I mean, who's kidding who here? You know, like it's hard to get people to click on a link. So let's throw some wreaths up on the fucking image, and we'll party.
So here we go. We got 2 Dora Maver Moore Awards for Outstanding Performance and Outstanding New Play.
Fuck them. I got nominated for 2 more awards last year. They changed the name of my play. So yeah,
they changed the name of your play.
They changed the name of my play. That's all I want to say about it. But they and then you go and you see and they do these cringy jokes, and it's like, oh man, fuck the Doras.
Why would they change the name of your play?
Because they wanted to disrespect me. I don't know. They're assholes. Because I have no idea but they run this big popularity contest. You know, like, so
I'm familiar with those.
Yeah.
I didn't make it through the Vermont comedy popularity contest.
Yeah, exactly, right. And I don't think that I think they do more harm than good in the community. And this is someone who fucking I threw them out. Yeah.
You won 2 of their awards. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And I threw them out as soon as I got them.
How about this? RBC's Emerging Playwright Award.
Yeah, that one came with some money and to do a play with Tarragon Theater, and I was supposed to do work on a play with this dramaturg, this in-house dramaturg, but she gave me the creeps, and so I took the money and I never did the play with them.
Oh,
and
she gave you the creeps. That's backwards.
She gave me the creeps. I'll tell you why. Yeah, I know, because when I was in theater school in Montreal, she had this house party and I crashed, and she kicked me out. She kicked me out of her house party. And so, you know, and this was like a, you know, theater school students.
Were you being an asshole?
No. Well, I mean, like, it's hard to tell because, you know, you've had a few drinks and I think I'm really funny. So I wasn't like, I didn't break things. I wasn't like starting like a confrontation with anybody. Right. I might have been like, you know, inconsiderate would be.
Sure. Okay.
I would cop to that. And like, look, I don't even have a problem getting kicked out of a house party. Are you kidding me? Like, dude, it's your party. You don't want me there? Dude, if you don't want me there, I don't want to be there. But don't fucking call me 6 months from now and think that I'm going to work with you.
Yeah. Okay. How about the
and I feel bad that I didn't do a play with them, but there was money, you know. And when you're a theater artist, a broke kid, it's like, well, give me the money. Of course, I'm gonna work with
when
you.
You're drunk, I'd let you sleep in my house. I would never kick you out. That would be mean. You know how my mom is.
I'm glad we got into these awards.
Yeah, talk about the Lustrum Award, which recognizes the greatest moments at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and which
my cat broke it. Yeah, my cat broke it. So like, at the Edinburgh Fringe is the largest arts market in the world. Yes, there are like 2,000 shows that go there, and so I'm doing the show.
Did you say it was a lottery? Sorry to interrupt you.
I don't. No, that's like the Toronto Fringe. That's most like north. Okay. That's most regional. I don't know how the Edinburgh Fringe works. Okay. I'm not the producer of my stuff.
Cool.
So I do the show, and then I'm sitting out back in the patio afterwards, and this old guy comes up to me. He wants to talk, and he has some notes about my performance.
Of course,
and he says he's seen over 1,000 theater productions, right? And like, look, I'm a bit prickly, you know, like I'm in a pretty good mood now, but I can get a bit prickly, and so I certainly don't give a shit what anybody thinks about my work.
I've gathered that.
Okay, but he's an elder. He's an old guy, you know, and it meant something to him that he'd seen over 1,000 theater pieces. Like, he wanted to share that with me. And so, like, look, if an older guy comes up to you, you know, and is going to take time to say something to you, if I can, I will stand there like a gentleman and hear him out and say thank you very much. If I can, you know, sometimes I can't.
Why can't you? What would be something when you can't stand there and take it like a man? Like, I assume you've got some commentary that probably doesn't sit that well with you.
For sure. I mean, like, well, let's stick with this guy for now.
Good.
He gives me a note, and it's actually a pretty good note. It's about vocal intonation, and too many of the characters I was doing were up in these higher registers, and so it became harder to listen to when there's not a lower grounded voice down here also.
Oh.
So there's a little bit of show business insides for the people, you know. Well, so you have a range on your voice.
Yeah, especially if you're doing 25 or 30 characters or whatever you said. I mean, that might be a legitimate you know, piece of feedback. Sounds like. Okay.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, and I could tell that he kind of knew a little bit about it. You know, he wasn't a dumb fuck. You know, so I said, you know, Robert, thank you very much. That's a good note. I'll consider that note. And I did. I actually did. I did work his note, and it worked great. I loved it. So I'm doing the show a couple nights later. Oh, my producer told me, she's like, when he said that, can I give you a note? She tells me, she's like, my heart was in my throat. She's like, she was sure that I was gonna like just pounce on him, and like,
you're not really a pouncer.
Yeah, no, I guess. Well, anyway, so I do the show. The curtain call comes up, and then this figure comes out from the darkness, and he's carrying this roe deer skull. And it's like he just presents this award in front of the people. It was like an academy award where like they give you this award in front, and it was like it was just a wild performance. And they give out something like 14 of them
Did you say it's a
every year.
skull?
It's a roe deer skull. Like
That's
a
the
roe
award.
deer is like, yeah, a roe deer is a small deer, and it was this skull.
Wow.
And so my family's like, Cliff, we know you always throw out your awards. We know you don't keep trophy, but you got to keep this one. You got to keep this one. So I'm like, all right, I'll keep it. And I went out of town and my cat broke it. Just knocked it off of wherever it was.
Do you have
and
any
just
of the
shattered in a million
pieces
pieces.
here with you right now?
No. We threw them out. Yeah. But it's just, but that was like, it's just the universe saying, it's like, there's no place for fucking trophy.
So you're blaming the cat on this one.
Yeah. No, the universe.
Yeah, no, you threw out all the other ones, but the cat did this one.
Yeah. Even when I tried to keep it, it was like, trophies aren't for you.
You got a shortlisted for Amnesty International's Freedom of Expression Award.
We got fucking robbed. I'm kidding. It's 2,000 shows in the Edinburgh Fringe. It's like, there was down to us and 5 for the Freedom of Expression Award. Like wow. That's worth mentioning.
Wow. That was at the Fringe Festival.
Edinburgh Fringe, yeah.
Wow, dude. Fucking A, man. Yeah. That's hell yeah. Got a 5-star review in the Guardian Observer titled "A Hard-Hitting Tour de Force," and that's all I got for the.
You know what? So the motherfucker about that was that Huff did not hit. We got some good 5-star reviews and everything, and the people, and we were really good feedback, but we weren't selling out every show. And then we got a 5-star review in the Guardian Observer, which is one of the biggest newspapers in the world. And then all of a sudden everybody showed up, but we got it on the last day. On the very last day, like all of a sudden they're coming in from the rafters. Yeah. And had that happened in the first fucking week, man, we would have made a lot of goddamn money.
I was going to say, maybe if they had fucking told that story years earlier.
Fuck.
Damn. Well, that's unfortunate. Although it's nice to see you getting a little bit of shine here, even if it is.
Yeah. Oh, lots. Late. Yeah, lots of shine. Yeah, really. Yeah, it's like people are always grateful for their success, but they should be grateful for their lack of success.
Yeah.
Like you get stuff. You get at one step at a time. You get it when you're ready for it.
The failure makes it more satisfying, does it not? That's
right. And had I gotten all the things that I wanted, like I'd be dead. For every audition I got when I went to when I was a kid, had I been the star of that movie, had I won the Grammy, had I gotten everything I wanted when I was a kid, I'd be fucking dead, man. Like, it never would have. It's good that I didn't get things.
I feel the same, dude. I was irresponsible child, and if you would have given me
Caleb, you tell me I was one of your best friends.
Okay, so
irresponsible children.
So, but also, look, we're still alive, so we weren't that irresponsible. But also, if you gave me Macaulay Culkin money when I was fucking 12,
we'd be doing Macaulay Culkin things.
Yeah, and I'm amazed he's still alive, to be quite honest with you.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to ask about the band now. That's all I got about your theater. Sorry to do an hour on your backstory, but tell me about Cliff Cardinal and the Skylarks, please, man.
We are 3 albums in, and we just came out with a new record called Suicidal Valentine, and the single off that track is currently number 31 on Indigenous Music Countdown. So check out www.indigenousmusiccountdown.com for anyone who's having a really good time and they want to, have a personal relationship with me. You can vote and then tell me you did, and we'll be friends.
How did you meet your bandmates? Tell me about that.
I was busking outside liquor stores, and my friend Brian goes, "Hey, this is good. I want you to meet this other guy, Patrick." And Patrick invited me into his home to start recording some of his stuff. And Patrick's a guy on the scene. He's got like good experience with some really good punk bands that I really like. But it was like, to me, it was like being invited to Dr. Dre's house. So I'm like, all right, here we go. And we did the record, and I'm not much for publicity, and at that time no one was trying to help us. And so it's like, we'd get the record done and we'd play it for people, we play it live, we play live and do shows and stuff, but there's no hype. There's no us bringing it out and putting it in front of people's
you're doing
faces.
my show right now, so I can tell you're not big on publicity. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for the first 3 records, it was like, for the first 2, it was like, do we suck? Or do people not know who we are? Would people hear about, if people heard about it, would they like it?
Right.
It's because it's really hard to tell with the music industry. There's just so much music out there that like, it's hard to find an audience, right? And so,
as you mentioned earlier, with the internet, it's really hard to get people to click on shit.
Fucking A. And so anyway, the pandemic happened, and all of a sudden I had nothing to do but write a new record. So we did a whole new record in 6 months or something. And we sent it to these cats called Marilyn and Music, Mark and Laura, down here in Toronto. They're an independent Indigenous music label. And we sent it to them, and they were like, "Fuck yeah, we like it. Why don't you put it out on Marilyn and Music?" So now they're getting us a bunch of, like, they've got us on countdowns.
So you found a record label to work with.
We're on a label. Laura's is our manager, and we're getting a little bit of radio play, both at Indigenous and college radio stations.
And it sounds like you're also, sorry to cut you off there again, but it sounds like you're also getting some live shows as well.
Yeah. We did a nice little tour this summer. We went to Montreal and Quebec and a bunch of places in Southern Ontario. Montreal and Quebec are great. They're like, they're such robust cities. It's so full. Like, oh man, go to Montreal in the summer. Oh, sorry, man. I know you have a hard time.
Thanks, buddy.
Fuck,
I've been trying to come up and they won't let me in.
Oh man. Yeah. Fuck.
I'd love to come see you. And honestly, I could give a fuck about Montreal.
Well, didn't your mom used to do concerts at J Peak or something? Not J Peak, the Outing Club.
Oh yeah, they still do.
Your mom should book the Skylarks.
Oh, we could arrange that.
Hey, there we go. If you book us, we will come, man.
Okay, I'm gonna tell her about that. Thanks for throwing that in there, dude. Because I've always wanted. Go ahead.
Well, no, I've always wanted to come back, and it's like, for my own, like, I don't know why. Like, I wanted to go and work down there at some point.
You wanted to come see me.
I wanted to come see you.
Is what it was. Yeah, I know.
That's right. I wanted to roll with the fine print for a little
while. This reminds me. At one point, I feel like you told me a story where you had a play written about Rufio, some kind of bangarang type of. Is that anything I could ask you about? Am I misremembering that?
I sure hope so. I can't remember it.
Okay.
Let's see. What do we have to say about Hook?
Sorry, I was having a dream.
My friend did Peter Pan at Stratford. And like, he thought he was so bad for playing Stratford's the biggest theater in the country. Or it's one of the biggest theaters in the country. It's this big festival. And he thought he was so cool for playing Peter Pan. And you should have seen him, like, with these green tights, and he's like, oh man, I was so embarrassed for him.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all. That's what I have to say about
one alone. Yeah.
Since you, I mean, like, I'm trying to bring out, trying to answer every question I can.
You don't have to answer every question.
That's what fine. I have to say about the Rufio question.
Word up. Can I ask you about?
I am just talking tons of shit on this podcast today. I never do this, but you know what? the holidays, I've been in kind of a bad mood, and I guess it's coming out today.
What? I thought you're doing great here.
Okay,
Well, I call you,
yeah.
buddy.
All right. Oh, I'm doing great. Oh, I'm doing great.
Can I ask you about your wife and her clothing or company or her fashion work?
Yes, Sage is the artistic and Sage Paul is the artistic and executive director of Indigenous Fashion Arts, and they are one of the fastest growing Indigenous fashion arts festivals, Indigenous fashion festivals in Canada.
Wow.
They've had 3 festivals so far, including one online pandemic one, and they are just growing so fast. You know, the sponsorships and the the international artists coming in, and the way the market is sustaining the work that people are bringing in. Sage is supporting, eccentric fashion artists who, many of them are reclaiming stolen practices, giving them a contemporary context. They're in a world of fast fashion where you're supposed to make 30,000 pairs of pants that are exactly the same, to make Indigenous art, to make, wearable art, it takes a huge amount of craft and skill. The peyote stitch it's very, very difficult using these tiny little beads, and you don't turn it out in a weekend. It takes time. And so it's hard to create relationships in the fashion market with parameters like that, but Sage is finding a way to do it.
Wow.
And she's got, and she's working with, industry leaders, and she was actually just given an award as a industry change maker at Canada's Art and Fashion Awards.
Could I get Sage on the show?
Yeah, I think you could. Maybe. You could try.
Maybe we can. Yeah, maybe you could call her.
I have a way with her. Yeah. You know what? I don't know if you can get Sage, but I know you can get her husband.
I saw you guys were friends on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Actually, yeah. And she actually hired me to write some shorts. They're microfiction. They're very short stories for each night of their runway show. And the idea, I think, was that a lot of people, a lot of white people are showing up, and they have no context for what they're seeing. Like they don't get the first thing on it. And it's like this canoe is ripping down the rapids and they're not on it. But so Sage came up with this kind of idea of like creating these little stories, these little microfiction stories that are a way of creating a context for people to come in. And anyone who actually knows, it's like they know the artist. It doesn't make any sense for the artist to be pigeonholed into this or anything. But other people feel like, okay, they have context for following it.
And it's important. Like, as much as I hate to say this, it is important to sort of make your art accessible to the audience in a certain sense. Like in fashion, that might be a little different, but in comedy, it's like, okay, if I want people to show to my shows, like I'm gonna have to tell a couple jokes that I don't love, or like read the room, so to speak.
Yeah, you gotta make it work for people. It is on you to make it work. Now, you don't want to compromise yourself,
right? That's the holdup. Really, it seems with most artists is how do you speak to your audience without compromising your own.
You write better jokes.
Yeah.
That you can say, like if you can say whatever you want, if at the end of it the audience goes ha ha.
Sure.
Ha.
Yeah. You got it. Which I never had a problem with. I always wrote good jokes.
They're hard, man.
But you have to have this self-awareness at least to look at it and realize when you've written a bad joke. You know what I mean? Like I've written a lot of bad jokes, and I could tell immediately when I tell a bad joke because people start looking at me funny. And sometimes people want to hit me or something,
Did you ever hear? I watched this video of Rodney Mullen where he talks about like he's going up and he's doing a lift trick, right? And he tries this thing and he falls, and falling kind of felt like being successful in this other trick. So he goes up there and he goes, okay, so I can get into this vulnerable position and then move this other trick out of it. But it comes from falling and failing first, and then all of a sudden it becomes this great Rodney Mullenism. So
I bet a lot of his tricks came from some serious failure.
Yeah, and it's the same with the jokes. Like there's much less space for comedians to go up and fail at things, and failure is part of it. Like any of those jokes that didn't work, like you were talking about, there's something there, and if you do it 100 times, you're gonna find the right,
I can usually tell
of it.
I can usually tell if I've got a decent joke. Like you can usually tell right off the bat if it's got legs or not. And you could really feel that out in a very short frame of time. So, boy, that's a really interesting point there. Especially, I love that you brought Rodney Mullen into this because, after I friended up my dude at Tall Truck who sponsors some skateboarders, my social media has just been full of skateboarding videos that I absolutely love.
Yeah, me too. I love skateboarding videos too. I couldn't do it myself. Too much of a coward, obviously.
Yeah.
But
I just kept hurting myself. I used to skateboard a little, but I kept twisting ankles, and concrete is hard, and I'm a very soft man.
Yeah. It's a difficult sport.
Yeah. I'm glad we
you were kind of a natural with sports, but skateboarding was like, no.
Yeah. No, I just kept
bars up here for that one.
Yeah. You really got to be able to know how to fall properly and really just take a lot of damage, which was not my specialty. I like to give out damage, but we played hockey together.
Yeah.
Oh, Cliff. Sorry, I got a little lost in my notes there. You know what else I want to ask you about was reimagining Shakespeare. That's the last thing on my notes.
God, Jesus Christ. Look, that was just about taking money from rich people. Fucking people are so goddamn dumb. If you fucking put the word William Shakespeare on something, they will show up to the fucking theater. Like forever, I'm dealing with this thing where like, okay, they'll book my show. They'll book my indigenous show, right? And then, it goes really well. We get some good reviews, some great audience feedback. But then I have to have this dumbass conversation with the artistic director where he goes, oh, it was great. Didn't make as much money as we hoped. And it's like, well, fucking obviously, I'm competing with 400-year-old franchises.
Yeah.
Like what do you know better? Do you know fucking McDonald's or do you know fucking Cliff's Burger Joint? Give me a fucking break. For like several tours in a row, we'd be doing the show in the little studio theater that seats 100 people, say, and next in the big theater, Mamma Mia is there. Do you know Mamma Mia? Like the Broadway musical that that's now an international film starring Meryl Streep. Like we'd be finishing the show and the building would be shaking because the audience is standing up going, Mamma Mia, like stomping their feet and shit. So it's like, look, yeah, I get it. You didn't make as much money when you got in the solo show about the kids who abuse solvents. I get it. So I was like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We're going to adapt William Shakespeare's As You Like It.
It's like the Burger King, like have it your way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And so we bought and I can't say too much about it because the show it's a secret. There's like what actually happens in the show.
Are you still doing it?
Yeah, where I go to Ottawa on the 14th of this month. So
so please don't give it away. But
look, the point is I have no idea why people buy that shit. To me, Shakespeare, it's like MDMA. You wouldn't pay for it. But sometimes it's free. So like what the fuck? But it's just it's total garbage, and I knew that I'd be able to take people's money, And so look, I have to make a living too in this business, right? So fuck
Oh,
the sanctity of Shakespeare and all that shit. I have a Shakespeare adaptation.
and I saw you with the
And
little ruffle collar on.
I do the thing. Come on, like I do the business.
You gotta roll them promotional dice. You gotta fucking
Gotta. And there are tools out there who, like, anytime there's a new adaptation, there's a new adaptation, a new Shakespeare adaptation out of Canada. Oh, and this one's an indigenous artist. Yeah.
That sounds like it could be. That sounds like it could have been on South Park right there.
Yeah. They take their credit card out and
they
they buy
Canada with his flapping head and his scratch eyes.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And so this is how much respect I have for the Shakespeare going audience portion.
Damn.
But when they do go to the show, I'm not fucking with them at that point. Like, I'm not, when I've got your money, I will earn it.
Yeah.
Like, you will get your money's worth off of the show.
I believe
even though I think fucking your Shakespeare fucking fetish is disgusting.
In a way, boy, I'm gonna make this comment after we actually wrap this, but I'm gonna save that one for after because I'm trying to maintain my audience a little here too.
Well, no, that's good, because if you say something horrible and I laugh, then everybody thinks that I agree with you.
Right, which
like,
is
I just laughed. I didn't say.
And I know that I won't cite it specifically, but I know you've had your own issues with social media.
Thank you for not citing it specifically.
Yeah. But I was there for you, and I thought it was bullshit, honestly.
Well, I love you, man. I appreciate you, man. I really do.
Yeah, and I would be there again if that happened again, dude. And look, let me tell you this: do you have anything else coming up that we missed, or anything that you want to talk about, or anything? Or not tell you this, I guess ask you a better way.
No, please listen to the album and the William Shakespeare's As You Like It, a radical retelling by Cliff Cardinal, is now available for purchase. So you can buy the book.
Where? Oh, you got a book.
You can buy it on Amazon, I think.
And I think Huff, you also have books for Huff.
Yeah, Stitch, Huff, Too Good to Be True, and William Shakespeare's As You Like It are all available online. They're in hardcover, in soft cover. You can buy them on Amazon. And all three of Cliff Cardinal The Skylarks albums, This Is Not a Mistake, Gonna Be Fine, and Suicidal Valentine, are available on all streaming services.
Nick, how are the book sales going?
It's I had to get a second garage for all my Ferraris. I don't even like Ferraris, Caleb. That's how good the book sales are. I think they're piece of shit fucking gas guzzling cars. Yeah.
I love you, buddy.
Okay, man, I gotta go.
Yeah, this has been great. Did we miss anything? Because I always leave the last one with my guest, Cliff Cardinal.
No. We'll come up with something next time.
Let me do my ending. Cliff Cardinal from Cliff Cardinal The Skylarks. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. If you have any last words, I always leave the last word for my guest. Don't steal my fucking final line from me.
No. That's good.
Cool. Dude, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, man. I love to see your face every time, and I really hope that you're killing it up there, man.
Thanks, man. I love you, Caleb. Great to see you too.
Yeah, I hope we can check in a year and see how it's going.
Yeah, dude.
Thanks so much, man. Peace.